Ladies and gents, welcome. I'm TCaptainX. Today we're going to going through the updated top 10 meta loadouts in Season 4 of Warzone after the update here. Now, I'm not going to go through and explain all of the different buffs and nerfs. I covered this in my update video yesterday. I just want to cover a really quick kind of a synopsis of what happened. Basically, all of the Black Ops 6 ARs got bullet velocity buffs and a few kind of random smaller things, but nothing major, nothing really much changed here besides the AMAX, and then the Kilo got small recoil nerfs. So both of those have worse recoil. Now the Krig C, which is already meta, actually still got a small buff, really no major changes there. And then basically all of the SMGs got small range buffs, nothing crazy, like an extra 1 to 2 meters and a few minor things. The Jackal was one of the few guns that did have a slight damage change, which is going to potentially put it up into the meta that we'll talk about. The Kompakt as well was another one that had some small changes there as well. LMGs had a bunch of changes, and honestly, they tried saying that they were going to make LMGs more viable, but they're just not going to be worth it because they nerfed a lot of the close range TTKs, and the damage and recoil just isn't quite there to make them kind of a meta contender. The only sniper they changed was they buffed the AMR mod. They extended the range a good bit, but it is still just, it's not going to be that good, and ultimately the HDR is still going to be the clear-cut favorite. So let's break things down first into our long-range meta, and then we're going to cover the close-range meta here. So this is a few of the top ARs in the game right now, and I want to shout out to my mod Harry for helping put this together. This is a time to kill chart. This is an average time to kill. So this is not a chest TTK or a combination TTK. This is taking an average of the different possible TTKs that you can get depending on where you are hitting your shots, and it is a much better kind of synopsis of how good a gun is. So number one, the FFAR, which is the new AR, it has a crazy good close range TTK for an AR, and it's very competitive at mid to long range as well. However, with the amount of recoil it has, it's probably not going to be a true long range meta, but it will be phenomenal as a sniper support and on rebirth. After that, you have a lot of different options going on here. Feel free to pause and look through some of them, but the Krig C is still going to be up here. It's kind of this gray line, and it's going to be one of the best ones. And then the Cypher is going to be a great option as well. The Grau was up here, a lot of other options in here. Now, when we look at the close range meta or the SMG meta, the SMG meta is actually very balanced. There are a lot of options, but the LC10 does kind of stand out, the new LC10, as probably the top dog. You will see the Kompakt in the blue line here. It's got crazy good TTK. It did get a bit of a buff. I think it's going to be a S tier option on rebirth or for very high skill players. But because of its recoil and range, it struggles a little bit compared to some of the other SMGs. But the LC10, which is this kind of orange line here, is probably going to be the #1 SMG, but all of these other SMGs listed here will be phenomenal options as well. And so again, if I have to ultra simplify this list, if I break it down into ARs and kind of marksman, I don't have any LMGs on this list. This would be kind of my top 10. Krig C being the clear #1, Grau and Cypher being close seconds. After that, there is a bit of a drop off and there's a lot of other different options in here. I will say the FFAR and GPR are hand in hand as the best sniper support, especially on Verdansk. DM10 and TR2 are some kind of optional marksman rifles that can be crazy good if you are a high skill player. SMGs, again, LC10 is probably going to be the clear #1, but I think people are making it out to be that the LC10 is like broken and way better than everything else. I don't think it's broken by any means, but it is a step above a lot of everything else. After that, kind of these next 4 SMGs, like all of these, you can make an argument of them being #2. And the Kompakt, you can make an argument as being #1 in close quarters situation. So all of these are going to be good. The C9 will probably be the most consistent. The Jackal is interesting because it can either achieve a very fast TTK or it can achieve a not so good TTK. And it's all going to depend if you can hit high damage areas. So for high skilled players that can hit chest shots mostly, the Jackal could potentially be like a #1 SMG right along there with the LC10. And then snipers, HDR is clearly the #1, hands down, without a doubt. Kar98 will be great for Rebirth Island and aggressive players. AMR mod, it's okay, but the HDR is absolutely still going to be better. FX Imperial is another one that's kind of fun as well. All right, so at number 10, we've got the Kilo. The Kilo did get a bit of a recoil nerf. It's not much. It's still going to be a very solid gun. And then the PPSH, which did get a handling buff, which is one of the things that was holding it back. PPSH has been underrated for a while, and it is definitely going to be kind of a sleeper option. For my 5 attachment kilo build, I prefer to run the 1X. I usually go Dobrik on pretty much all of my ARs. It's just a clean, very simple sight. Monolithic, this is a gun that I normally go reinforced with. Most of my ARs I go gain twist, but the kilo already has good bullet velocity, so that extra damage range is very nice for it. Vertical foregrip and then mag 2. And vertical foregrip is pretty much my go-to for all ARs. I will mention that the new G grip is a great attachment, but I'm gonna mostly use it on SMGs and not on ARs. And then the PPSH, a few different ways that we can build this. I do like to run suppressor, that way it gets rid of all that muzzle flash. Reinforced barrel, the G grip. So the G grip is a new attachment. You unlock this page 7 in the battle pass. And what this does is you're gonna see it helps recoil stabilization and horizontal recoil, and also hip fire to ADS accuracy. So it's kind of like the Strelok laser. It has a built-in laser. The laser is barely visible, so you don't really have to worry about it. Honestly, you can go either, you know, if you like a little bit more sprinting speed, Ranger foregrip is going to be better. If you want pure recoil control, then go vertical foregrip. And then mag 2 and ergonomic stock. A lot of different stock options you can go on the PPSH as well. One thing that limits the PPSH is that it does not have a rear grip option. It only has the stock, and so those attachments are kind of weirdly combined. At number 9, we've got the KSV, which is kind of your do-it-all SMG. Very good recoil, very good range and versatility. I've got that paired with the AMR Mod sniper. Again, this is a one-shot sniper up to about 150 meters, I think it is. It's got solid bullet velocity. The problem is when you don't control the recoil, it kicks up like crazy. So it does have a fast fire rate, but it is very difficult to hit those follow-up shots. For the KSV, a few different ways to run this. Again, I'm going reinforced, G-grip, mag 2, ergonomic, and then the balance stock. You absolutely, though, could swap like the stock for something like a muzzle, like a compensator or suppressor. You could also swap something like the barrel or rear grip or stock for an optic if you choose so. For the AMR, we're going monolithic, gain twist, and then over pressure to max the bullet velocity. We're going quick draw for a little bit faster ADS, and then the lightweight pad is going to help with aiming idle sway. You could also go, you know, the weighted pad for recoil. You could go marksman pad for the focus. A lot of different options. Number 8, we've got the GPR as a more of a sniper support, super versatile AR, and then paired with a good old Kar98. Still the best quick scoping aggressive sniper, but only a one-shot headshot up to about 70 meters or so much better on rebirth. The GPR and the FFAR can go either or for which one you want to choose as your sniper support. I'll probably do a dedicated comparison video on those two because they are very similar. But this is just an amazing sniper support type build. Does very well for an AR at close to mid range. And then we are then going with the Kar98. A few different ways to run this as far as the optic goes. But for max bullet velocity, we're going to go spirit fire, a long barrel, and then high grain. And then I normally go like an under barrel to speed up the ADS, but you also could run something like a sling or a stock. At number 7, we got the Ames 85. The Ames did get a nice handling buff, so I do think this will be a good, very low recoil option. The problem with it is it's a long range TTK, just doesn't quite stack up compared to top guns like the Krig C, but it's a very, very good option. Then we've got the Kompakt, and the Kompakt again I think is a sleeper, and I think you can make an argument it could be as high as like the number 2 SMG or even number 1 in some situations. The recoil is just a little bit tricky on it though, and it lacks some range, so it's just not as versatile. For the Ames loadout here, very similar to my kilo setup, Dobrik monolithic reinforced, could go gain twist as well though, vertical foregrip, and then mag 2. I don't really like to run 2Xs or 3Xs on my ARs, it's just too much visual recoil, but if you like to do that, totally fine to do that as well. And then for the Kompakt has a unique barrel. It has the integrated suppressor barrel, which again, it gives you range and also a suppressor. Does give you a little bit cleaner iron sight as well. Then gonna go Ranger. You could go Ranger or you could go G-grip, but the Ranger is gonna give better recoil. Mag 3, ergonomic, and a balance stock. If the recoil is too much here, I would probably say swap the stock and the barrel and run something like a compensator muzzle. You cannot run it with the barrel. And then you could add something like, you know, recoil springs as well for even lower recoil. At number 6, we've got the TR2 marksman rifle. This does take AR ammo. However, it is a semi-auto gun, so a little bit harder to use, but it's got some crazy good long-range TTKs if you can hit your shots. Paired with the Ladra. The Ladra is another one that like you can make an argument it is easily number 2. It's really just kind of a personal feel factor. It is a great all-around SMG, very good TTK. So for the Ladra, I'm going reinforce a vertical, although honestly, I'd probably go G-grip now that the G-grip's out. Mag 2, ergonomic, and a balanced stock. You absolutely could swap something like the stock or barrel for a muzzle like a suppressor, or you also could go optic instead. One thing I do want to point out is that if I am going to run a muzzle on my SMGs, I never run the monolithic, and that is because I don't need the extra bullet velocity and damage range as much, and it's not worth the penalty because it hurts our aim down sight speed. So that penalty of that trade-off just isn't worth it to me on a close range gun. And then the TR2, again, going to 1x, you absolutely could go 3x on this one. This is a gun that I would be okay with going 3x. Compensator for the recoil control, it's just way too bouncy with a monolithic. Gain twist, vertical foregrip, and mag 1. This is a gun that does benefit from running Gunfighter. So if you are going to do so, if you can run something like overpressured and get even better bullet velocity, and then you add a rear grip like the quick draw or ergonomic, it is pretty nice to go Gunfighter if you can. At number 5, we actually have the DM10 marksman rifle. Now this one I am running as Gunfighter. The DM10 is a gun that I don't think you should run overkill. I think you have to go Gunfighter. I have a very unique optic on this. This is a 4x, 8x, and 12x. And so this is a gun that you're gonna run on big map and just kind of like poke people from really far. It's got hit scan bullet velocity as 1900 meters per second bullet velocity. And so I really like kind of running this 8x on a lot of situations at longer ranges, and you're just picking people off here. And this thing is crazy if you can hit your shots with it at long range. Now, again, like I said, this is a Gunfighter loadout here. And so if you're going to do that, it's going to be ideal where you're going to be able to just pick up a ground loot SMG or get your second loadout for an SMG. So we're going the VMF variable scope is that scope. Unfortunately, this scope is not available on other ARs. It's only a marksman rifle scope. Monolithic, gain twist, and then overpressured will give us our max bullet velocity. Like I said, it's behind my webcam, but 1900 meters per second bullet velocity, crazy fast. Weighted handguard, mag 2, quick draw, and then the buffer weight stock, which again is a unique attachment only to the DM10 and just a few other guns. And then if you are going to run a pistol secondary, the Grekhova is probably the best option here. And what most people like to run is going to be with the special stock, the weighted stock. And this is the one that gives us kind of like that weird hip fire. It's pretty cool, very, very, very good gun for a pistol. Not as good as an SMG, but a solid option. At number 4, we've got the Cypher and the Jackal. And this is really where we're getting into the point that these guns kind of get interchangeable for what's meta, especially the SMGs. I do think the Cypher has a tad more recoil and bounce compared to the Krig C, although the TTKs are very, very similar. The Jackal is going to be a potential meta contender for sure, because it can achieve some insanely good TTKs if we're hitting chest up and we're not hitting stomach and leg shots. So for the Cypher, again, pretty standard loadout. This is one I do prefer to go gain twist on. You absolutely could go reinforce, but the extra bullet velocity just feels a lot better on this one because the base damage range is 43, which is not bad at all. Dobrik, monolithic, vertical foregrip, and mag 2. And then for the Jackal, a few different ways to run this one. I am going compensator on this one to really make the recoil nice and smooth. G grip, mag 2, ergonomic, and balance stock. I will say on my SMGs that the infiltrator stock is another great option. You really can't go wrong between the balance and the infiltrator. It's just kind of personal preference. And then same with the underbarrel. There's nothing wrong between going G grip, ranger, or vertical, just kind of depending on your trade-offs. I think a lot of people will like the G grip, especially if you like to kind of hip fire and kind of as you transition into your ADS. At number 3, we've got the FFAR. Now, one thing they did is they murdered the iron sights on the FFAR. It is not the same iron sights. This is a cyber support build because I'm pairing it with the HDR. HDR, nothing changed here. It is the same insanely good one-shot sniper. So the FFAR is definitely one that you might want to consider running a optic with, but it is going to be an awesome gun either as a sniper support or as like a long-range rebirth gun. And so for the FFAR, this is going to be more my sniper support build. I'm going compensator, gain twist, G grip, mag 2, and then the assault grip. However, once I have it unlocked, I would probably go ergonomic grip once I have it unlocked for a sniper support type build. And then I also would probably, instead of the gain twist barrel, I'd probably elect to go for something like the balanced pad or the balanced stock. I just don't have it unlocked yet. So the loadout would probably for a sniper support look like this plus the balanced stock. Now for more of a long range build, this is what I'm running. This thing has been a ton of fun to run on Rebirth. So I'm running an optic, suppressor, although I would probably go monolithic once I unlock it. I think there's a bug and it's not unlocking for some reason. Gain twist or reinforced, either or here, and then vertical in mag 2. And then for the HDR, this is my same build as my last video, but I go monolithic, gain twist, and overpressured for max bullet velocity. I go fast mag 2, which is only a 4-round mag, but the reload is crazy fast. This really helps our aim down sight speed a little bit faster, and then quick draw for a faster ADS. At number 2, we've got the Grau and the C9. The Grau is pretty much just as good as the Krig C. I think the Krig C edges it out just barely in terms of TTK. And the Krig, or I'm sorry, the Grau is one that's interesting because it's a conversion kit. We kind of waste an attachment there. So that's one other small downside, as long as you're okay using the iron sights. And then the C9, it is still going to be a top tier SMG, very consistent, great recoil, great iron sights. So for the Grau, again, this is the SWAT 5.56 marksman rifle that we're then using the Grau conversion kit on. We're going monolithic, vertical foregrip, the auto mag, and then quick draw, or you also could go ergonomic if you want to be a little bit more aggressive and use this while you're kind of sliding around corners and stuff. And then C9, a few different ways to go here. I like to go reinforced. On my SMGs, if I am going to run a barrel, I prefer to go reinforced because I like that extra bullet velocity and range. I know a lot of people say you don't need bullet velocity, you just go long barrel. Personally, the hit reg feels way better for me when I use reinforced. There's even a lot of the top players, a lot of the pros are running gain twist on this, so don't neglect bullet velocity on these. Again, the new G grip, but again, you can go vertical or Ranger. It's kind of a toss up between those three: Mag 2, ergonomic, and a balanced stock. And you absolutely could swap something like the barrel or the stock for a muzzle like a compensator if needed. All right, and our number one loadout is still going to be the Krig C when it comes to the AR. Just nothing beats it in terms of its both combined TTK and recoil control, but we do have the new LC10. Now this is a special blueprint. It does have a little bit cleaner iron sights, but it does have some kind of annoying tracers. So this is the new like Zeus blueprint. Not saying you need to buy it by any means. It's a nice iron sight, but the stock ones are great too. And so here is the stock irons. Again, they are super clean. It's a great iron sight. All right, so for the LC10 loadout, we're going with the suppressor. Again, you could go compensator if you need the recoil control, but this gun has very low recoil, so I don't think you need it. I like suppressor because it's going to get me off the minimap. I don't think you need to run monolithic on this, just because you don't need the extra range really, and it's going to hurt your ADS. G grip, again, we could go, I think the G grip is going to be great for aggressive players, but if you're a little more casual, just stick to the vertical. And then if you want better movement speed, go with Ranger. Mag 2, I think Mag 1's fine, but I think Mag 2 definitely if you're playing trios and quads, ergonomic, and then the balanced stock. And then if you do want to use like an optic or a little bit or a barrel, I'd probably say take off the stock. And then my Krig C loadout has not changed. The Krig C did get a bullet velocity buff, and so with that, you absolutely could consider going reinforced instead. It's got great range already, so I think I kind of just like going gain twist and just having crazy good bullet velocity on it personally. But then I'm going Dobrik, monolithic, vertical foregrip, and Mag 2. Again, I do not think the G grip is worth running on our ARs. It's more of an SMG attachment. And then if I'm going to get my Gunfighter Krig C, which when I'm playing like Verdansk ranked or just BR, if I'm able to get a loadout first before the public loadout, I'm usually always going to go my AR Gunfighter first and then just use either a pistol or like a ground load SMG. So with that, I am going to add the ergonomic grip, combat stock, and then recoil springs. You also could elect to go over pressured here instead, and then swap the reinforced barrel. There's a few different options. And then if I'm going to go Gunfighter on my LC10, I will swap to the Ranger foregrip so that I can then add the Strelok laser. And then not rapid fire. We're going to go we're probably going to go recoil springs or over pressured, really either or there. And then I'm also adding the reinforced barrel back on. Let's quickly talk tacticals and lethals here. So as far as tacticals, I think smoke grenades are overall going to be the best option for most players, especially in BR. I think for Resurgence, you have a few different options. They did buff flashbangs and concussions, so I think they're decent options. Shock charges are insanely annoying to go against if you know how to play them right. They're kind of like a claymore in a sense, where they're going to prevent people from pushing you. Stim shots they're good for gas plays, but they don't really do much movement wise anymore. Lethals, we have a lot of options. I really do like running frag grenades. I think if you can cook them, you can throw them really far. I think they're really good if you can place them well. Semtex and impacts are both solid. Impacts are kind of the meta still, especially in ranked, just because you can throw them so quickly at people. A lot of other options here. Blast traps and spring mines are insanely annoying and very strong if you place them in good places. And then I do like to run throwing knives if I'm just playing like Resurgence and just like playing aggressively to help with finishes. As far as perks go, these are my three pretty go-to perks, especially if I'm playing Resurgence. Now, if I'm playing big map pubs, I like to go Bird's Eye because it gives me some extra UAV info. Really good if you have a good team and you're popping a lot of UAVs and you're going for high kills. A little bit more casual player, I think Ghost is phenomenal. When I play ranked, I normally go Ghost to avoid staying off UAVs. And then as far as perk 2, if I'm playing pubs, Tracker is it for sure. I think Tracker is just nothing beats it. You cannot run Tracker in ranked this season. So in that case, I'm probably leaning, potentially towards Bomb Squad, honestly. That way I'm not gonna die, or that way I can see, you know, prox mines and stuff like that. Cold-blooded is not gonna be very necessary anymore in ranked since tracker is banned. And then quick fix is very solid too. I don't love quick fix though, because you can't cancel your plating. You can hit fire while plating, but you can't cancel it. So I don't like that. That kind of annoys me. And then perk 1, scavenger is generally my favorite, especially when I'm just playing pubs. Gives you $1,500 cash every time you loot a dead enemy scav pack. Refreshes your ammo, plates, tacticals, equipment, all that fun stuff. It is very, very good, especially for aggressive players who are getting a lot of kills. They barely buffed Mountaineer. I think it's really good on Resurgence, but I don't think it's really worth running on Verdansk necessarily, because it's not as good as it used to be in MW3. Survivor is a fantastic perk. You know, just makes you heal a lot faster. Very, very good. You know, Veteran, it's not bad. It got a small buff with flashes and stuff. It's okay. Reflexes is very good. It does counter. It slows down the timer for the prox mines blowing up. But I just feel like, you know, Scavenger or Survivor are going to be really your S tier options here. Everything else is decent, but maybe not as good. As far as your wild card goes, I'm running Overkill, like, you know, in Resurgence pubs, just 90% of the time. But if I'm playing big map or ranked especially, I will almost always try to go Gunfighter with my first AR class and then try to get my second SMG class later. It is good to have a battle ready class as a backup, because you spawn in with that supply box, which is a munitions and armor box combined. So like if you're regaining, or maybe you just get an extra loadout and you don't need guns, but you just want to grab that supply box, it's good to have that kind of just extra on hand. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap things up. I hope you found the video helpful. If so, leave a like, subscribe for more content like this. We'll have lots of more meta loadout videos coming, updated settings video, all that good stuff coming. Come check out stream here on YouTube or Twitch. We'll see you in the next one.